Good morning, everyone out there in UK. Good afternoon to every single one of you in Asia, and I think it's like really midnight somewhere in US of A. Since we have such a global Spurs family, we have people from all over the world usually joining us in the chats and joining us on the streams as well. So today is slightly unusual time that I do my midweek show. As you all know, my midweek show doesn't usually have a timing as the game is usually a bit late. This week it's like a weekday sort of game, so that's why I'm doing a midweek show on a weekend. Um, and yeah, what's happening, guys? Let me know your thoughts and comments in the chats as well if you are there. I think not many of you are here today because I suppose a lot of you are still sleeping, but you can always catch up on this stream once you wake up and let me know your thoughts. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button as well. We are on the way to 150 subs soon. Um, and yeah, today we are going to be discussing a little bit about Spurs and the Everton game, and I have a very special guest with me. I don't think he's making his debut at Step Up Spurs, but I think if you're around in the Spurs community, you would have seen him mainly on many of the streams as well. One interesting thing about this guy is I think I saw this guy 1 year ago on MasterChef, and then a year later, actually, I just happened to be when I joined the Spurs YouTube community. I was actually on a stream, and I was like, yeah, this guy looks familiar, and I've seen him somewhere before. And then I went on to like, oh, he's the guy from the Master Chef, and there you have. There I have a Master Chef joining me today. So give a big round of applause to Has. Hi Has, how you doing?
Hi, Elias. Thank you for having me on the show today. Yeah, it's great to finally make my debut on your show. Yeah,
Yeah,
also I want to say hello to everyone watching or anyone who might want to watch later on.
yeah, man. Yeah, so actually, it's my privilege. It's first time ever I've met any Master Chef contestant. I've been watching MasterChef for like since I was kid. I started with like the Australia version. I've never met any of the contestants ever. Yeah, but it's a privilege to be having this chat with you. But
uh, Pleasure.
yeah, man. So tell us a bit about yourself. Like, I assume you're since MasterChef as well is one of your thing. Are you a chef like professionally, or are you like do you like cook as a hobby, or how did that started, and then football and then everything? I guess you have like quite a few hobbies as I was chatting with you in the back room as well. Let us
Yeah.
know.
Where do we start? I mean, the cooking thing was something that started when I was young, from a very young age, actually. I was always into cooking. My family owned like a restaurant
Oh, nice.
when I was about 3 or 4 years old. So naturally, I was always around it. But I never sort of entered into the professional world. As you know, with MasterChef, you've got two different versions here in the UK. You've got MasterChef, which is for non-professionals, and then you have the professionals. So I entered into the standard version, which is not for professionals. So one of the criteria had to be that you wasn't a professional chef. So yeah, it's very much a hobby, but it's something that's gotten to be more than a hobby over the years. So there's a lot of cooking that goes on in my house, and I'm always a part of that. So yeah, it's a big part of my life. Cooking is massive for me. So yeah,
I,
to be on the show was fantastic as well. It was absolutely amazing experience. So, and by the way, if you do like the shows, 10th of April is the new series in the UK. So make sure you
yeah, I
watch
heard
that.
that it's starting again, the 2023 season. And yeah, I'll be catching up on that. Actually, I watched quite a few. Like I watched the. Do they have Junior MasterChef in UK, by the way?
They recently started Junior MasterChef,
Yeah.
so they
I
do have that as well.
I used to watch the Junior MasterChef in Australia like every season, but now I think just being busy with work, those were the childhood days I used to watch it quite regularly. And during pandemic, yeah, I caught up on quite a bit as well. So yeah, Has, tell us well the combo, like what do you do, by the way? Like what's your profession?
So I'm actually I work for the police in the UK. So
Oh wow.
yeah, I've been that was my main profession. And yeah, I'm sort of um, yeah, it's weird because you do that, but I sort of get time to do everything else. It's hard to make,
Yeah.
but I somehow make time for things like for cooking, talking about football, going to football matches, and everything
I'm
else.
amazed. I'm
Yeah,
amazed by the variety of like some of the things are totally different from each other. Football one side, you have cooking one side, and then you have the police job, which is totally different things like dealing with criminals and all that. Wow, you are a
yeah.
multi-talented individual, I must
Half
say.
a yeah, everyone seems to say that, but yeah, I like to say, jack of all trades, master of none, probably. But yeah,
It's good to be jack of all trades. I think I'm pretty much in a similar boat as well, with my own life. And how did the just curious, like you have been I know you cook Turkish food as well. Are you from
yeah.
Turkey, or like are you originally from
No,
Turkey and
so
moved, or you're raised up in you?
well, I'm from North Cyprus, so North Cyprus is like the Turkish side of Cyprus. So it was
Oh, okay.
occupied by the Turks, and then the south side of Cyprus is the Greek side. So you have north and south. So I'm from North Cyprus, and my wife's from Turkey. So naturally, you know, cooking Turkish food is like it's second nature, so to speak. The foods are similar, but I'm a man who cooks from anywhere around the world. Whether it's Far Eastern, whether it's Western. If it tastes good, I'm usually cooking it. So yeah,
That's nice. And I suppose I should do a cooking stream one day on my channel as well with you. We'll
yeah.
talk
Let's
about
let's do
food
it.
from
Let's do it.
different cuisines.
Let's
Like,
do
come
it.
on, sometimes the football talk can be a little bit too boring when you do it day in day out. So yeah, a little bit of different stuff. Like I think we heard the Bob Spurs has now started doing some talk on the movies and the different genres. So we can do a bit of talk on the cuisines. But
Absolutely.
tell us a bit about like how you did your passion for football started. Growing up in UK, I suppose you grew up, and then how did that passion started there, and how did it grew, and how did you end up becoming a Spurs fan out of all the clubs and out of all the options? Why Spurs? Like that's one of the questions I ask
Yeah.
everyone who come on the stream. Why did you choose to suffer under Spurs? Like you could have chosen Man United, you could have chosen Chelsea across the town, you've chosen Arsenal, but Spurs, why?
Well, sometimes they say you're born into it. So I was quite literally born into it uh, by sheer fact that I was born across the road from the stadium almost. North Middlesex Hospital is
Oh
about,
wow.
I would say, a 10 to 15-minute walk from the stadium. So I was born in the area. My dad was a lifelong Spurs fan. He used to go to every home game, and I didn't really have a choice in the matter. My dad made sure of that. There's photos of me as a baby, even with Tottenham posters everywhere, where my dad used to absolutely go nuts over them. But yeah, I was born into it, sort of. Didn't have a choice, and naturally, I started playing football at school as well. Played up to sort of Sunday league level, but yeah, it's something that I've been passionate about since a young age, and you know, most of my dad's side were all Tottenham fans, so it just made it slightly easier. But yeah, you look back at it now, you think, why? that all the trouble of supporting Spurs at the moment, you'd think, yeah, but it is what it is. You know, I wouldn't have it any other way.
That there you go. You wouldn't have it any other way. I don't know what's the thing now about it. You are the third person I think on my stream who told me that they were just born across the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in a hospital. I guess you're all born in the same
Yeah,
hospital. The other day I was chatting with Tommy and he said, yeah, he was just born like a few kilometers away from the Spurs Stadium as well. Perhaps
yeah,
you were all born hearing the Spurs chants, and then didn't never really had a choice. That the chant
yeah.
was the first thing you all heard.
We were sucked into it from a young age. You see, so I think if you're born if you're born in that particular hospital, then it's guaranteed. If your family like football as well, then it's pretty much guaranteed you'll be a Tottenham supporter. But
Your
yeah,
doctor, your doctor must be a Spurs fan as well. The nurse who was
well,
taking care was also
who
a
knows?
Spurs fan,
Who knows?
I suppose.
But there's a term in the UK where it's born and bred. So I'm always I'm born and bred in Tottenham. You know, that's where my heart and soul is. So no matter what this club go through, you know, they will always be in my heart. So this is why we're so passionate about the club. You know, and so many other YouTubers are so passionate about the club because it's close to our heart. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I guess it lives in our veins, you can say.
yeah, 100%. You know, it's one of those where you can't help it. You can't choose. Same way you can't choose your family. You know, you can't choose where you were born and the club you support from a young age. You know.
I guess. Well, I was the one who chose to follow Spurs, from a family of cricket fans mainly, and hockey fans. I think I'm the only one, I think, who chose like a football club. But my family does like follow football as well. Like my dad sometimes watch a bit of Chelsea, and then my brother he watches quite a lot of Arsenal. He has an Arsenal jersey as well, but not
Oh
really a
no!
hardcore.
Oh no!
Then I am the only one who chose Spurs, so it was like that for me.
Derby
But
Day should be quite interesting if your brother's an Arsenal supporter.
no, they don't really watch that much.
No, oh, okay, fair
Not
enough.
not really like the hardcore fans. So actually,
Yeah.
us here in Asia, we sometimes follow. They follow clubs, but they don't really watch that much. I mean, for me, like yeah, I'm quite a hardcore fan. I'm a recent fan as well. 2 years or so around there since I
Oh
started
wow,
following
wow.
Spurs.
Welcome.
But yeah, it feels like that. Yeah, it now lives in my veins as well.
Nice. That's what we like to see. You know, a bit of passion. People care about the club, and you know, it's interesting. You've been supporting the club for 2 years or more now, but this is the club. You must have like sort of read up on the history a bit of Tottenham
Yep.
Hotspur. You know, we've had some really troubled times in the past as well. Then we moved on to some better times, and recently, you know, we've been going through a turbulent time. But you know, like I said, it's a great club to support.
Yeah, it is. It is. I One thing I love about Spurs is that their past, really, their history and their heritage. Definitely, I think it's one of the things that not many clubs has had. Like we were the first club ever to won a European trophy in English football as well, and things like that. And that really makes you proud as well. And I think that the style of football, the legends that have come out of it, it's really a proud thing to follow. And but yeah, I think we all know that we have lost quite a lot of that, and that's where I think
Mm,
we are going towards as well. Like over the recent years, we have had some really terrible football. On top of that, we have not won a trophy since 2008. And in fact, before Poch time, we were even struggling to reach the Europeans level as well. Like we would only go until like Europa League, and then Poch came in, and then he started winning us Champions League. Just a question that I usually ask a lot of fans who have been supporting Tottenham for a long term as well. Like, how has this affected your love for Spurs over the years? I suppose, again, has it made it to a point like that you just sometimes it reaches to an extent that you just don't care? Uh, I know some fans, yeah, at this point of time, it has really come into that extent that yeah, nah, I just don't care. It's just another day. Or okay, I will watch the game, but yeah, nah, for me to be a hardcore supporter, not my thing. Where do you stand on like the recent things that have happened with the football club, and where the levels have dropped and all of that?
yeah, look, firstly, you know, supporting a club like Tottenham is very much a love-hate relationship because, you know, there's times where you absolutely love watching the team play, and then there's other times where you absolutely hate watching the team play. So, at the moment, you know, there's a lot of turbulence at the club. Um, some people say that stems from boardroom level. Some people will say it stems from the management through the coaches. But you know, look, I think you know the main word that we need to use here is frustration because, like you said earlier on, you know, we were so good under the Poch era, and then we seem to have sort of regressed. You know, after Poch left. You know, we've tried different managers. We've tried to bring in the likes of Mourinho. We've tried, you know, Conte, Nuno in between that as well. So we've tried different things, and it's sort of that, you know, instead of progressing and moving on, you know, to bigger and better things, to perhaps winning trophies and stuff, we've taken a step back. If anything, maybe we've even taken 2 or 3 steps back when we were doing so well. So it's frustrating to see. This is why, you know, we're on these channels discussing Spurs. You know, it's frustration, you know, because we want to see the club do well. We want to see the club progress. We want to, you know, be successful. So, you know, the fact that we were so close and now we're back to square one again is extremely frustrating. But look, this is the way for Tottenham and Tottenham fans.
Are you used to it?
Yeah, I mean, look, we are used to it somewhat, but you know, we just want the best for the club at the end of the day, and look, I'm sure at some point they'll have to get it right. But for now, you know, we have to support the club as much as we can. But yeah, it is frustrating times indeed.
Yep, it is. Like, I mean, I started supporting Spurs at like one of the worst timings as well, 2 years ago, when I think Nuno was our in charge. Uh, can you imagine? Out of all the times, one thing I think I would always regret is like I started supporting Spurs when Nuno was our manager. Like there, and then there's the whole Kane saga going on. I think one of the main reason how I came to know Tottenham was that because of that Kane saga, because that news used to be every day on the front cover of newspapers, and all the articles used to be about that and Premier League. So I got into it a little bit, and then I started knowing about Spurs. And since that drama, I think this is gonna happen now again in this summer as well. That Kane saga would happen once again, and we'll see where he heads up or whether he stays. Uh, in the recent times, I mean, now we are going through one of the worst crises, according to some journalists, that we have not faced something like that for a long time. Uh, it would be someone just said a news that Levy has resigned. I don't know if it's an April Fool's joke or if it's
It's the
real.
April's Fool's joke. Yeah,
Okay,
I knew it as soon as I started to read it. I thought, yeah, it's 1st of April. It
that's
would be
such a
great.
funny April Fool's joke. Maybe I should have
It would be,
maybe I should have renamed my stream as Levy has resigned.
yeah, yeah, it might work. You know, you certainly get a
Yeah,
lot of people tuning in that way as well.
oh, Levy has resigned. Okay. That's a good April Fool's joke. But anyways, where we were, yeah, we were on. I was actually gonna come on to the Levy topic as well. What we have been seeing, and a lot of different opinions come on to this. Why all this is happening, and where do you stand, has as well? Like I know I think you are a Levy out fan as well. Hearing from you from most of the streams, but tell us a little bit more about it. Like where do you think the problems really started? And what is the key root of it? I know we all know is Levy, but since uh, it's always a privilege for me to learn from some of these senior fans, in a way
Sorry,
to
that's
hear
my
about
seat.
it. Yeah, like where it started going wrong. Is it the stadium that we spend a lot on it, or is it our club structure has somehow gone wrong, or is it some of the poor decisions that Daniel Levy made, which we are now paying the consequences in terms of signing? Let us know a little bit about it. Has
Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to go into the history of things, obviously, Levy, the company ENIC, which he comes under that umbrella, you know, they bought shares in the club. ENIC has the bigger share. Levy does have a share of, I believe, 24% or something around that region. And he, you know, they took the club over from Alan Sugar when the club was about to go bust. You know, we weren't doing too well at the time, and he took the club over. And you know, one of the things that was very telling at the time was an article which Levy um, he gave like a sort of a statement in a newspaper, say, you know, the club was a great opportunity for them to invest in, a great business opportunity. Now, I mentioned the word business because that's going to future a lot in what I'm going to say. But pretty much the writing was on the wall from back then. Now, since they took over, financially, I mean, he's done well. He's done well financially. He's built a new stadium. He's brought in sponsorships. He's done a lot financially. However, what's happened is he's taken a lot away from the footballing side of things. Now, we got lucky under Pochettino, who came over from Southampton at the time. Relatively unknown at the time. He had been at Southampton for about a year and a half. So not a lot of people knew about Pochettino. But if you knew about Pochettino, you'd knew that he played for pretty big clubs, including PSG. And in Spain, he played for Espanyol. But we had a very good few years under Pochettino. And we were very lucky that we uncovered someone like Harry Kane. But look, at the moment, soon as Pochettino was given his marching orders, I think the club sort of, I say the club, but at boardroom level, they sort of lost their way because they didn't know what they wanted. Do we hire someone else of the same caliber? Do we hire a win now manager because we've now got this massive stadium? But in recent times, it's come to light that the ambition of the club has always been to sort of finish in that top 4 spot. And that's, for me, it's placed more importance on that than sort of any, than actually having a bit more ambition to challenge for a title or go for trophies and everything else. There isn't any other ambition apart from top 4, which doesn't bode well for anyone coming in because it's like in managers' terms, if a manager comes in, he's told, get me top 4, and that's all I want, So we lost our way quite a bit, and that was telling really under Mourinho. When we had Mourinho, he got us into a final. I say we, but the chairman sacked him 6 days before that final. And that was a fantastic opportunity for us to win a trophy. I know we only lost narrowly in the final, but just decisions like that. These are just one of many decisions that the board have made. That have backfired. Why do that? Why sack a manager 6 days before? And a world-class manager in Mourinho at that. We've brought Conte in at the time. Conte, we all knew he likes to bring in players that are ready to go straight away. And knowing that, we simply didn't back him enough to do what he wanted to do as well. So there's all this back and forth from board level as to what they want to do. They're not sure. It seems like to me they just want to get top 4 at all costs. They'll pay managers money. They'll come in, get me top 4. As fans, we want more than just the top 4 finish. We've sort of most fans have come to believe now that top 4 is like a trophy, where it's not. Big up to Philpy, by the way, watching.
Yeah, big up Philpy.
Can't do a woo at the moment because I've got a sore throat, but yeah, big up Philpy. So there's a lot of unrest between the fans at the moment. A lot of fans are sort of divided as to what's going on at the club. A lot of people will say Levy's done really well. His financial structuring of the club has helped us, they would say. But for me, I think they missed the bigger picture in that the business side of things have taken precedence over the footballing side of things. Because it seems as though the business side of things will always come first. And then, when it comes to football and things that need to be, addressed, like, buying quality players and everything else, that hasn't happened. The club come out last year, I think it was, with a statement to say that they were only going for young players with attainable wages, And then they've got a manager like Conte, who
wants winners.
He's not renowned for nurturing young talent. he wants to be ready, ready to go and win things. So
Yep.
this is the thing. There's a lot of conflicting things at the club at the moment. We, as fans, we just want a bit of transparency. We want a plan. We want to see a bit more ambition from the club. But none of that is happening at the moment, and there's a lot of division between the fans. So yeah,
Yeah. I think we kind of know, but I think you put it really nicely in some of the examples that you gave, like the issues that we are facing. And now I think we are back to square one again now after sacking yet another manager. We did that to Poch, we did that to Mourinho, we did that to Nuno to a certain extent, but I think Nuno was just awful. Anyways, like all the fans did want him out, but the Conte one I think kind of hurts because for me personally speaking, I think Conte was doing a good job. He brought in some players as well, even though whatever chances he was given, he somehow transformed a squad. Like you could see the squad taking a particular philosophy. I think he was just like 3 or 4 players short of having an ideal squad for the system that he plays. Like maybe 2 center backs, 1 wing back. 1 wing back was already supposed to come in actually in your summer window, and then maybe a goalkeeper and maybe a midfielder, something like that. And we were having the discussion as well that even though whatever that he has, he buy players who are winners, but he did some form of a development work within this team. Like after a long time, you could see some form of like a formation going further. You could see some form of philosophy, at least for the starting 11. But now, since he has been sacked, the question comes again, like what's the club's philosophy now? And I think if I'm pretty certain you would have heard that interview that just Stellini gave, that he said that yeah, he might be changing our formations again. Like we are back to square one in that sense that we no longer have a particular identity or particular shape in terms of what kind of football we want to play. What are our strengths? Are we going to play just attractive football for the sake of attractive football, or are we going to play a football that is organized enough to win games? um I don't know where do you stand on this particular one. Like this particular sacking of Conte and now the situation that the club is in, I think is not just that. You don't even have a ladies manager, and you don't even have an academy director at this point. If I'm not mistaken, the academy
yep.
director
He
was
left
recently
a
sacked
few
as
weeks
well.
ago. Yep.
He left a few weeks ago, and then now you have situation with Fabio Paratici as well. He has been banned globally, that he can't do business either. On top of that, we have been hearing news like, okay, we are signing Clement Longley on permanent from Barca because he's a cheap signing for 12.5 million. You're signing him, and on top of that, you have players out on loan worth 250 million, or I think 260 million to be precise, something along those lines. Like seriously, this club is a mess right now, and we are signing a bang average player like Clement Longley as a priority in this kind of timing, when you can actually postpone these crises as well. Like okay, Langley is a good player. Even if he is a good player, let's just assume that he can bring in some form of quality in our club, although I don't believe that. Even if he can, why is it something that you're trying to figure out now when you should be focusing on other big problems in like hiring a manager, hiring a footballing director at least? And why are we focusing on this? Like, come on, don't waste your resources, don't waste your time on something like this, which can take place in summer, because you have an obligation in your clause as well. I think already that you can sign him on permanent. There's something like that in his clause. Uh, does it tell us that actually our club just care about making money and the business structure is the priority rather than the footballing model? Like the fact that we are signing a player without a manager, without a footballing director who would stay with us for the next season, there's no philosophy there already. Like it just proves the point.
Yeah. You pretty much hit the nail on the head there. You're spot on. Look, with the whole Longley situation, it's just purely money, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. If that player is available at 12 million pounds or 14 million euros or whatever it was, um, it smells of a classic Levy deal. I just think it's absolutely disgusting the fact that we are bringing in a player without having identified a new manager. Um, for me, it just says, "Oh, look, there's a player who's at a reasonable price. I'm going to bring him in. Then that way, we've got ourselves a defender." Well, for me, it doesn't work that way. If we're bringing in a new manager, that manager has to be the one that identifies players that he wants in his system that he thinks would be suitable to play under his sort of structure. But look, we haven't even got a football director at the moment with
Exactly.
Paratici. So who's cutting this deal? It's going to be none other than Mr. Levy himself. So I think it's highly unprofessional of him to do things like this, because if you look at other clubs with a professional setup, most of that footballing power is given to a manager or a sporting director who's able to do his job, and they deal with the recruitment side of things. But so if you look at a club like rivals Arsenal down the road, they
Yep.
have a fantastic understanding between each other. If Edu is the sporting director there, he does all the recruitment, and anyone that Arteta identifies, he concurs with him, or he doesn't. He'll bring in whoever Arteta wants or try to. But we don't have that structure where we are. The difference is, we've got a chairman who tends to, take control of things, micromanage everyone at the club, with limited football knowledge. His
Yep.
business acumen and his business knowledge is up there. I'll give him credit for that. But when it comes to footballing side of things, the decisions that he makes is absolutely shocking, and he's got a lot of things wrong over the last couple of years. And now, like you said, it's culminated in us not having a manager, the women's team not having a manager, sporting director facing a global ban, um, academy director not working under him. He's gone off. It's just at the moment, all these decisions have now sort of culminated in this scenario, So, look, whoever we bring in, and, I think it doesn't matter anymore who we bring in, but ultimately it's got to be the players that have that mentality, to go out there and have the ambition to play well and achieve something, you know. I believe some of these players should have been moved on a very long time ago from the club.
Exactly.
Um, some of them don't have the mentality needed to be elite or actually try and achieve something. But more so than formations and tactics, I think a player individually or whether as a team have to have that mentality, have to have a winning mentality, and a professional mentality. And sadly, that's lacking at the club at the moment. There's only a very few that I can really say, have a fantastic attitude. Harry Kane being one of those. Son, I know he's having a bit of a hard time at the moment, but he's certainly got that edge,
Yep.
and a few others as well. But look, whoever comes in, there's a big job that needs to be done. It's not fair that whoever comes in is going to have to be the one that deals with all this. Um, a manager for me should come into a club where it's all set up and ready to go. Not come into a club where he's having to sort out issues sort of from top to bottom. It's just not fair, and it's not fair, for the next person coming in to Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Because the fans would again have those expectations that yes, this particular person, whoever comes in, he must finish in top four. He must win trophies. I get that. I think as fans, we should have those expectations from the manager. But I think right now, whoever comes in, I think in this situation, if that person were to really achieve top four, it would be a miracle. I think for me, given the kind of situations that we are dealing with, not just at the management level, but what do you think now with all the injuries that we have piled up since the international break? You don't even have a left wing back who is fit enough, a proper left wing back to play in that system, unless you move to a 4-4-2 or 4-2-3-1. I don't know what Ryan Mason or Stellini would work out. I think for the next game.
Um, Look, firstly, I think you'd hope that Stellini and Mason will have done their due diligence and identified someone to take cover in that left wing back or left back position, depending on what formation they're going to play. My understanding is today, looking at social media and various news outlets, is that Stellini himself said that Perisic will be ready, should be fit to play. So
Perisic will
um,
be fit to play. That
he'll
would be
be fit.
interesting.
Yeah, he'll be fit to play. Whether he's 100% fit or not, we don't know. We'll find out. But look, the thing that worries me the most about Perisic is the fact that he's not been very good in that left wing back role for us this season, and I think part of that problem comes from the fact that his age and him slowing down in terms of his speed and recovery has affected us as well. So I think against a team like Everton, Perisic playing left wing back, it's going to be tough because Everton are fighting for their lives. Um, there's going to be a lot of defending in that game, and Perisic for me is not someone who's renowned for his defending. So whoever comes in at that left centre back position, which we're assuming is going to be Clement Longley, is going to have to help out a lot, even slot into a left back position most of the time. So yeah, I think hopefully we covered at least with Perisic being there, but I don't have any hopes of him doing well during the match. But it was also apparently noted that Danjuma has played left wing back previously on a couple of other clubs that he played for. I think Villarreal as well. So push come to shove, the worst case scenario, maybe you look at Danjuma in that left wing back role.
Yeah, man. Dan Yuma is another one that I was considering that he can somehow fit in there, because I think he has played as left winger in some of his previous roles as well. So a left winger is possible to come in there, but again, the defensive frailties would be there because he can't defend either. I feel defensively, I don't think he's good enough as well. Um,
The thing is, Elias, it's interesting because Stellini in his press conference said that they're willing to change tactics and everything else. So it'll be interesting to see from Monday onwards in the next few games how much he'll deviate from the current system. Because under Conte, it was very rigid. We didn't sort of deviate from that back three or anything like that. So it'd be very interesting to see how he changes things up with Mason if they need to. Will he, will he go to a back four if needed? Will he go into a 3-man midfield? We don't know, but it's going to be very interesting.
yes, it would be indeed interesting. I mean, I must say. Because this particular decision would kind of tell you as well, like, where does Stellini stand? Like, is he willing to play Perisic, or is he willing to try to mix things up a bit? Because he was the first one, I think, who invented that particular idea of playing Davis towards the left side, and that kind of worked for us in those couple of games as well, because Davis defensively did well. And then the other thing I don't like about Perisic is the kind of areas he occupy. I think he doesn't allow Son to freely occupy the areas where Son is good at, because he and Son kind of, if you look at the heat maps, they usually play in like the similar sort of position.
Yeah.
And then sometimes to cover for Perisic, Son has to drop in a bit deep. That's another issue that we have been seeing over the past few months. And that would be interesting to see now in this particular game what does take place between them. But I think this game we have bigger problems to address than just this Sun issue. I don't think you have the midfield is gonna be another problem as well. Everton relatively no matter how bad they are, they have some really good midfielders, and I think
They're
they
very
play a very
physical.
they're very physical.
Very
And
physical.
defensively as well, you can see that the Tarkowski and the Sean Dyche pairing, that understanding, it has to strike up again the way it used to be in Burnley. The fact that he has come back, you can see that their defense is kind of working well as well. And if they drop in deep, then creativity is going to be another issue for us, I suppose.
Yeah.
What areas do you think we can exploit Everton? Where do you think they would firstly pose threat to us? Because I personally don't see this game from a very optimistic lens, Because Everton with Sean Dyche has looked much different, in my opinion.
Um, look, I think Everton are the perfect have the sort of perfect type of players for Sean Dyche to work with. In that Dyche likes working with physical, powerful players, you know, and he has that. He has that with the likes of Onana, who's come in, who's absolutely very, you know, physical and imposing. You know, he's got Idris Gueye, who came from PSG this season. Um, you know, Iwobi started to play well as well. They've got players that could complement each other. You know, Coleman is for you know what he's worth. He's himself a very strong leader in that team. And then at the back, you know, they've got the likes of Connor Cody, Tarkowski, you know, two proper defenders, you know, who'll
Yep.
come out and take no prisoners. So for me, it's going to be a very physical game. I just think if we come out with a two-man midfield again, you know, two in the midfield, are we likely to be overrun and lose that midfield battle? Probably, I would say so. But we are very limited in terms of options in the middle. You know,
Yep.
we've got at the moment.
Skip and Højbjerg. That's
We've
all.
got Skip, yeah, we've got Skip and Højbjerg, but you know, do we throw Sarr in there as well? Do we go with the three-man midfield to match up because they're gonna absolutely, you know, hustle us and harry us off the ball, and it's going to be very physical. They're not going to make it easy for Tottenham. Like I said, they need the points more so probably than we do because their Premiership survival is on the line.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Stellini and Mason can pump these players up to actually match them in terms of physicality, which is, you know, that left wing back role again. They will know we've got injuries there. They will target that area. You know,
Yep.
if you remember in the Southampton game, that through ball went through. I believe it was Longley and Perisic was on at the time, and the ball
Yep.
goes straight through
Same.
them, and then Walcott cuts it in. You know, things like that. We need to be switched on. You know, we absolutely need to be switched on. It's Monday night, and the saying in UK is, you know, Monday night under the lights, especially if it's raining as well. No one wants to be there. No one wants to be there. You know, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough.
And it's an away game.
It's an away game. Their fans are going to be pumped up for this as well. So yeah, I think we just need to try and make sure that we can match up with them because physically, I think they're stronger than us physically in terms of stature.
No
So,
doubt. In
sorry.
terms of, I think, the formation they play as well, 4-5-1. I think recently that they have been playing against big teams. Four
Yeah,
five one.
that's right. Yeah, yeah, 4-5-1. They'll pack out the midfield and look to get you on the break. And yeah, look, they're not a bad side on their day, but we've come to the part of the season now where it's do or die. You know, it's fight or flight. You know, there's 10 games to go, and they are going to want to pick up as many points as they can at home, especially. So, look, it's not going to be easy. I can't see us getting the win there. I think the most I can see is maybe a draw. But one thing that, you know, has been very common this season is that when the going gets tough and we really need to perform, we
We
really
somehow
don't.
do.
So, you know, the players haven't been up for the fight, and that's part of the problem this season. And Monday night is going to be one of those games where they will need to be up for the fight. You know, how much everything is going, you know, everything that's going on in the club at the moment, how much that will affect or impact the players, we don't know. We don't know until Monday because players will think about these things. They'll think about who the next manager is going to be, whether they are going to be there next season. All these things causes instability at the club, and this is what's happening now. You know,
Exactly. I 100% agree with you. I think, and one good thing I like that you brought up is that left side issue, because left side you have Son struggling, you have Perisic who is naturally defensively not a good player. Langley is not there because Langley would be there, and Ben Davis would be injured out. We don't even have any subs to send in. I think if we face another injury or if somebody gets tired, we don't even have. And not just that, on the right side as well, I think we are not that great. I mean, the only person who can cover on the right, at least maybe Romero is there, but Poro also defensively, I don't think he's like the best of the options as well.
He's very
Although
much a right wing back, so yeah, he's not going to be the greatest at defending, but this is why we need quality centre backs in this system. Because if you are playing with right wing backs, yes, the wing backs need to have some sort of defensive capability, doubling up on wingers with your centre backs, but your centre backs ultimately need to be absolutely in tune with each other and the players around them. So, your right centre back will be in tune with the right wing back, and same with the left wing back with the left centre back. And then the one in the middle should be the one who conducts everything, the conductor in the orchestra. If we're stepping up, we step up together, step back together. You're pointing out and you're leading from the back, and that's
yep,
that's another problem, because we don't really have any leaders. Eric Dyer for me is not a leader. Um, he likes to point fingers. He very animated, but he's not a leader.
yep,
So we need players like if you look at Everton, they've got Connor Cody,
yep. Connor
absolute
Cody is a proper
leader. They've
leader.
got Coleman, leader. You need these leaders all over the pitch, all over the pitch.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. The lack of leadership is another problem. I don't know how long now Lloris needs again. Lloris, I don't know if he has been leading that back line somehow. I don't know about that as well. But I think I don't think he'll be able to play this game because he just recently turned back to training like 2 weeks ago or a week ago. He was back in training.
Yeah, I think for this game, possibly we need to stick with Fraser Forster.
Fraser Foster.
Um, the thing with Everton is right; they'll get crosses in, long balls. They'll float those balls into our area, because another thing that we aren't really good at is heading the ball. Romero for his qualities, that's one area that he probably lacks. Dyer
The
again,
aerial
not
duels,
too
yeah.
bad, but not the best. Same with Longley as well. So having a goalkeeper with his sort of reach and height, I think will possibly work. Dealing with
Better.
crosses and long balls. Um, you know, uh, Lloris very good. He's a very good shot stopper, but I think dealing with those long balls, um, I think Forster should be the one to be between the sticks on Monday.
Yeah, that should be that should be my preferred choice as well. I think just because he has just recently recovered, returned from an injury, so it will take him a bit of time as well to get into the game and to get his muscles going and all of that. Um, in my opinion, I think Lloris. I would have actually loved the fact that Lloris doesn't come back for the entire season, and then he just retires. But the fact that he's coming back, I mean, it's acceptable, but it's not something that I desperately wanted, because as long as Lloris is around, I think Levy always had that excuse that okay, you have a World Cup winner, you have a leader like him around in your team. He wouldn't buy us a good goalkeeper. And now some fans are even using Fraser Foster as an excuse as well. That yeah, you have a class goalkeeper who has played at the high level of football, like in Europa League. I think when he was at Celtic, he played some really good level of
He played
football
in
at Celtic.
Champions League with Celtic as well.
Oh, he did play with in Champions League as well.
Yeah,
So you have that excuse, I think, and but I don't think they are the long term solutions as well because of their age, both in their mid 30s. So we would have to find some solutions for long term. I think someone like Nick Pope. But we were linked with him last season, but I don't think he'll come to us.
I don't think he'll
Uh,
come from Newcastle. That would never happen at the moment, because he's only been there for a year at the moment, and Newcastle at the moment looking to build, possibly get into Europe. So um, look, there's a whole plethora of goalkeepers out there at the moment. Our recruitment needs to be better, Elias. There's no two ways about that. You know, the Premier League only today released a statement showing how much each club has spent on agents, and you know, it's shocking to see how much agents get.
I
But
haven't had to look at that.
yeah, certainly one area that we certainly very much need to improve on is the recruitment and scouting side of things, because I know we didn't touch on it earlier on, but you know, with Paratici, for everything that he's done, I don't think he's been as successful as some people make out to be. You know, some of the deals very questionable.
Yep.
I'll go back to Brian Hill, swapping Lamella for Hill and paying £30 million on top. You know, one of the deals that he made that just doesn't sit right. But he hasn't really
Richarlison
done
deal.
much. Sorry?
The Richarlison deal was another one, 60 million.
Richarlison deal, although, you know, the Richarlison deal, I believe it was Daniel Levy dealing with the chairman of Everton. They, I think, needed to sell because of FFP, and we ended up still paying over the odds for Richarlison. I think 60 million was way too much. I think 40 would have been more reasonable, but we were absolutely done with that deal, you know. And considering he hasn't scored any Premier League goals at the moment, you know.
Exactly.
But I
He
say
was
that
near one
because he's been,
was it 2 weeks ago? He was near one goal, but he couldn't.
yeah. I mean, I
We
think
are
that
ruled
was
out.
wrongly ruled out. I
Yeah,
think that was a perfectly fine goal, but you know, this is VAR for you. You know, we'll probably have a few more VAR decisions on Monday as well, and there'll be a few today. You know, so
yeah. Anyways, I think it's pretty tricky game, and as a fan who has known Tottenham for a while now, I want to look at this game for from a very optimistic point of view. Given that we always struggle against teams who sit back deep, we can go into their half and we'll try to move the ball around, but we manage to not find the space and the gaps. That's one area we've been lacking lately in as well. We don't have somebody who can really take some fantastic free kicks as well. Like you can try and get a free kick conceded, so it's going to be tricky.
I
Uh,
think Poro's not too bad at free
yeah,
kicks.
Paro is not bad, so I would love to see him take a few more free kicks. But we always somehow end up with Kane taking free kicks. Like, when would Harry Kane stop taking free kicks? That's another
Yeah,
question.
that's no one really understands that. Whether you're a Spurs supporter, whether you watch England or anything else, no one understands why Kane takes free kicks. But one would only assume that Kane is, you know, a natural sort of, he wants to succeed at everything. So maybe he just wants to say, look, I can take free kicks as well, but it just doesn't work.
He wants to succeed at everything, but he's still with Spurs somehow.
He loved the
That's
club just as much as we
He
do.
just
There
loves
you
the
go.
club as I think we do. I don't know. Actually, Kane used to be an Arsenal fan, right? When he was growing up, he
Look, see, he was at the Arsenal academy, I think, for a very short while. But one thing at that level is you can be a fan of another club, but go to another academy, because, like, you know, if my son was a Tottenham fan and, you know, he didn't make it into the Tottenham academy, then either someone like Fulham or even Arsenal or whoever came up and said, you know, we'll take him, you'll send him there because you want what's best for your child. You know, you want
Yep.
them to be successful, and if a Premier League club comes in, you're going to send them there. So I think that's pretty much what it is. But you know, I think there was some rumours. I don't know whether it's rumours, but some of his family are Arsenal fans.
Yeah, most of his
I, I,
family.
I don't know.
Yeah, they are, because I bought a book on him. Apparently, he was told by Arsenal that you're too fat to be a player or to play football.
Well, there was a
And
picture of him in the kit, and he looked quite chubby,
yeah,
didn't he? So,
he looked quite chubby. I think I have that picture in one of the books I bought. It's a biography on Harry Kane. And it's interesting. But that Harry Kane free kick issue, yeah, I think somehow the English squad has some fantastic free kick takers. Like Marcus Rashford can take good free kicks. Somehow Harry Kane still comes up. Like, I just don't understand that. But anyways, that's some myth we can never solve. But what are your score predictions for this Everton game going into it?
um, I would say 1-0, 1-0 to Everton. but my heart says to me 1-1. It'll be a 1-1 game. I think
Being
we'll find it
realistic.
very difficult to score against them.
Yep, I think we'll find it quite difficult. It won't be like last season, the way we score like 4 or 5 goals against them. I don't think we can do it this time. This is a totally different sort of game. Although somehow Everton's squad has gone down a certain level. They are not where they were, I think, last season. Like they had Richarlison and all those big names. I don't think they have any big name players in the midfield or in their striking lineup. But I think under Sean Dyche, they look much more composed, and that's where I guess they make a big difference. So I'll go for a 1-0 as well, like you. So yeah, we are reaching till the end of the show as well. So Has, let us know where can people find you and where will you be on next?
Yeah, so as you know, my channel along with my co-host Marlon is A View from the South Stand. You can find us on YouTube under that name. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter as well under the same name, A View from the South Stand. We practically host a show after every single game. So we do a match reaction show. So Monday's show will be around 10 o'clock UK time, straight after the game. So we look to get on 4, sometimes 5 guests who give us their take on the game, whether they've been there or watched it on telly. And yeah, we just host shows after the games. And also we do a monthly review show every last Friday of every month where we look at issues over the past month and we discuss them with fans. So yeah, definitely go and check us out. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Click on the
The link is there
notification
in the
bell if you
chat.
want. Sorry.
Yeah, the link is there in the chat. So guys, if
Yeah,
you want,
fantastic. Yeah, so get over there. Yeah, my co-host Marlon, he's absolutely fantastic as well. Brings on fantastic guests for me. So yeah,
Marlon will be joining me next week for the Brighton overview. He was not well this week, so that's why I got his co-host today. So Marlon will be here with us next week for the Brighton preview. I'll decide on the date, and guys, I'll update you all on the socials which day Marlon will be joining us. I haven't worked out the timing with him yet. I think he's still unwell at the moment.
yes, yeah, he's unwell, but he's gonna have to get better before before Monday to host a show. But yeah, I might even take over if he's still ill. But yeah,
Yeah, man. So I'll tune in as well if I'm not on another show or probably another stream, because nowadays sometimes I go on Tottenham always watch along. If I'm not doing that, then I'll join you, or either if Dan THFC is not doing his watch along, then I'll join you
yeah,
as well. Yeah. But big up to every single one of you in the chats. We had Philpy. Sorry, Philpy, I actually didn't greet you earlier, but I think Has did. Sorry, I totally forgot about that. But big up to you. Big up to Fresh. Fresh is an Arsenal fan. You usually join us. And big up to Bobby K. I think I first time saw you when you were doing the stream with Bobby K as well. Yeah, that stream.
yeah. Bobby, I was
When,
on Bobby K's stream a couple of months ago. Yep,
when Big K came and took over and he sang the Eric Dyer song, I remember that
that's
stream.
right. Yep, that's
It was
right.
quite hilarious.
It was,
And that's
yeah.
and yeah, I'll be doing a Eric Dyer show specifically just talking about Eric Dyer with Big K one day as well. If you all want to join, that would be hilarious. And we'll do some funny stuff as well. And now, as we were just discussing, we might do a show with international cuisines, discussing that with Has, and we might get somebody else on as
100%.
well.
I'm always down for that.
Yeah, when Spurs discussions get a bit boring, we'll do that kind of shows now, because I think I'm getting pretty frustrating every week as well, talking about the same old shit. So we
Yeah,
should
look,
get into those kind of
we can talk about what your favorite takeaway is. We can talk about what your favorite, dish is, whatever, I can give you a
Yep.
different take on how to do stuff, it's
Yep.
freshen it up.
We can even do a cooking show. You can cook something for us and share the recipe.
Yeah, why
Have
not?
you ever done
Why
a
not?
cooking live stream?
I have done a couple, yeah.
Oh,
I've done a
do
couple of
you have
live
like a
streams.
channel where you do cooking as well? I should
I'm
subscribe to
at the moment I'm on Instagram, so you can catch me on there. But I've had live links to other sort of platforms where I've cooked live. So yeah,
Great stuff. So there you go, guys. So I think my mom, she always watches my streams. So mom, if you want to catch on some Turkish food and you want to try something new, you can, I'll give you the link to Has shows and his streams where he has done cooking.
Yeah, my Instagram is Has Cooks Turkish 2022. So
There you go.
yeah,
Is it the 2022 to represent your master chef here? Great stuff, Has. It's always a pleasure to have you. And I'll be going live next probably on tomorrow night as well for my fan show. So, guys, you can check me out. It will be late night, I think at about 11 p.m. or 12 a.m. UK time. I'll be putting up the link shortly. So if you guys want to join me there, you can join me as well. We'll be previewing the game as well there. So in the meantime, you all can see me on some of the usual streams. I sometimes go hop on other channels as well. I don't know. I might go on to Shelf Side Spurs later. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
come on, you Spurs.